With tons of nerfs to supers and 3-star slow roll carries, patch 13.1 is the first patch of the new year that reintroduces some higher cost carries again. But guess what, there's actually still a slow roll comp that's way too consistent to disappear anytime soon, and it wants you to play all duelists. Nilah, Vayne, Zed, Zoe, Fiora, Yasuo and Gangplank are the units you'll need to finish in the top 4. When playing this, you'll want to stabilise with a copy of your main carries Nilah and Vayne at stage 3, so you'll be able to play 6 duelists at level 6. You can use Kale as an item holder for your late game carry Zed, who you'll most likely find while slow rolling at level 7 for Vayne 3-star. With a full duelist comp, all you care about is stacking attack speed and slicing up the enemy team ASAP. That's where you need Nilah's specific itemization. As most of your team is meant to deal damage, you ideally want 3 lockets of Iron Solari on her. If you can't build those multiple lockets, give her usual tank items like Warmog's Armor and Dragon's Claw instead. The other 3-cost duelist is your only backline of Vayne. As she'll be the most important unit in your early and mid game, you want full damage items on her. Infinity Edge, Runaan's Hurricane and Last Whisper should make her pierce through the enemy team one by one. Zed is the other damage dealing duelist in this comp, who unlike Vayne is a melee carry. Since we're playing Hacker here, you want to send him to the enemy backline by connecting him to Hecarim. His favourite items are always Edge of Night, Runaan's Hurricane and then something like a Giant Slayer. For your augments, you should definitely pick up any Nilah or Vayne hero augments, especially Nilah's carry and Vayne support ones, as these have the best top 4 rates for this comp. Whenever you play duelist though, you should always look out for any duelist heart, crest or crown, as this will allow you to fit in more Hacker by ditching Gangplank or Kale. Number 2 on our list brings back the Daredevil with a wild mix of different traits. Your team will consist of the Daredevil herself, Samira, and her friends Sejuani, Nunu, Urgot, Echo, Alistair, Sivir and Vayne. As this is a comp around late game carries, you'll want to level up at a regular pace and stabilise with copies of your most important units Samira and Sejuani during stage 4. Once you go to level 8, you'll have to find all remaining high cost units, but more importantly 2-star your 4 costs to actually complete this comp. As you'd have guessed, Samira is the main AD carry of this comp. As Ace, she can execute enemies if they fall under a certain threshold. So this is why you want a full damage itemization on her. Infinity Edge in combination with the Last Whisper and a Giant Slayer is really what you're looking for here. If you're facing enemy duelists with heavy locket shields or beefy Sett shields instead in the enemy frontline, you could also opt out for a Guard Breaker instead. It has better average placement, but it's not quite played as frequently, and it's therefore more niche than Giant Slayer. Sejuani is your main tank who'll hold everything defensive. Since her ult can hit almost the entire enemy team, she's ideal for items like Morello's. Still though, you can just go for standard tank items such as Redemption and Dragon's Claw. Then we also have Nunu, who you can use as an item holder for everything else you find AP. In an ideal world, you'll give him Hextech Gunblade, Ionic Spark and Sunfire Cape. In terms of augments, any Samira hero augments are just no-brainers, but since they aren't quite as easy to get, you'll do just as fine with something like Sivir's Endless Pizza or any Aegis, Heart, Crest or Crown. Next up we have AI Renegades. Talking of AI, did you know that these comps are provided by ChatGPT? Nah, I'm just kidding, don't worry. Until AI take over the world, this comp is taking over the current meta. Camille, Viego, Echo, Talon, Alistair, LeBlanc, Zoe and Annie will set up the right program for you. This comp gets insanely strong right at the moment you get your 3-star Camille on that Hacker Hex. But to 3-star your main carry, you want to stay at level 6 during stage 3, have a big bank and then start slow rolling every turn. Once you've got her, push to level 7 and 8 to find your second most important renegade, Viego. There is also a similar comp focused solely around Viego, but if you like the slow roll version and want to know which admin program is best for Camille, check out our free Sett overlay and bring this comp guide into your next game. Camille is your main carry, and as a melee she needs a mix of sustain and damage items. Her best in-slot items consist of Bloodthirster for the extra healing and shielding, Infinity Edge for the crits and damage, and a Titan's Resolve to finish. Your second most important renegade and damage carry is obviously Viego. Now this guy is an AP item holder, so you can send everything with a rod or a tear his way. But since he's also a melee carry, he still needs one item that gives him some form of sustain. So have a Bloodthirster, Jeweled Gauntlet, and a Rabadon's Death Cap on him if you can. For your augments, you should definitely pick up any Camille or Talon hero augments such as Adaptive Defenses or Oxy and Rage. Whenever you play Renegade though, you should also look out for any Renegade Heart, Crest or Crown, as this will allow you to turn other strong carries into a burst monster. Another S tier comp in this patch is our infamous Optimus Prime duo. If you didn't know already, Miss Fortune will now always target the biggest cluster of enemies, which makes her so much stronger than ever before. You'll back her up with the optimal Mecha Prime Sett in the frontline too. To make sure Miss Fortune has enough time to ult, you want to load up your board with strong utility units like Leona, Nunu, Urgot, Echo, Alistair and Wukong. This one is another default leveling comp that spikes extremely hard once you hit those carries. Honestly, all you really care about is rushing to level 7 around the end of stage 3. Find a copy of your main damage Misfortune and a copy of your main frontline Sett, and then turn him into the Mecha Prime, whilst Misfortune deals all the damage needed in the backline. Speaking of which, Misfortune's itemization consists of 1 item for mana generation and 2 AP items for damage, so you want to focus on getting her a Spear of Shojin, a Jeweled Gauntlet and a Rabbanon's Death Cap. For your core frontliner Sett, his best in slot is obviously going to have to be Gargoyle's Stoneplate, as he'll always start alone in the frontline and can build up as many resistance stacks as possible in this way. Then you can go for items like Warmog's Armor and Dragon's Claw. For augments though, you should definitely pick up the carry hero augment Bunny Mercenary, and Sett support augment Regenerative Shields. Making your comp tankier though is also a really good choice, so go for any Aegis, Heart's Crest or Crown as well. The last comp on our list is very straightforward and will guarantee crits on your entire backline. You'll play full recon with Kai'Sa, Vayne, Ezreal and Ashe, and have beefy threats in the frontline with Zac, Cho'Gath and Rammus. The comp strength is the insane power spike and high tempo in the mid game, therefore you want to roll at level 6 to find all your units 2-star before you go to level 7 and then throw in Zac as well. And of course 3-star your 3-cost carries. Kai'Sa is going to be your main hybrid carry and she wants a Rage Blade first because it synergizes perfectly with her ultimate and its stacking attack speed. Then go for some damage and resistances shredding in Giant Slayer and Static Shiv. The first 3-cost threat Cho'Gath is your main tank and utility though. His positioning is so important as you want him on the edges of the front line. For items, just throw anything defensive on him to get as many ult casts as possible. Warmogs, Dragon's Claw and Bramble Vest are ideal items here. Lastly, you have the threats Rammus and Zac to throw all remaining items on. For Zac, go for belt items like Zerot Portal, and for Rammus, go for vest items like Bramble Vest or Frozen Heart. In terms of your augments, you should definitely pick up any Kai'Sa hero augments, and especially her carry augment Multi-Shot. Finding Ezreal's support augment is also a good sign to go for this comp since it will help you become even stronger in your mid game. Lastly, since we're playing only threats in the frontline, High Roller will make 3-starring them pretty damn easy. That's going to wrap up our top 5 comps you have to play from our Challenger experts in patch 13.1. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to our channel and stay ahead of the meta with Mobalytics.